Welcome back. Now, the latest political moves in Pakistan have some observers predicting a slide into more violence and possibly even another coup. So what's next for a country that seems to be in constant political turmoil? Well, for 40 years, political power has shuttled between the Bhutto family, Nawaz Sharif and the military. In 2007, General Pervez Musharraf dismissed the country's constitutional court judges when he declared emergency rule. The Supreme Court system has remained in place under Zardari's rule, and it's this court that banned the Sharif brothers. Last year, Asif Ali Zardari and Nawaz Sharif brokered a deal for the judges to be reinstated, but that still hasn't happened. If the judges regain their positions, it's possible that corruption charges against Zardari could be reinstated, leading to Sharif possibly taking power again. And, of course, there's the military, who've been intrinsically linked with Pakistani politics. Could they intervene again if things get worse? Well, let's rejoin our guests now. In Columbia, Missouri, Paul Wallace. In Manchester, Amjad Malik. And in Lahore, Dr. Amna Noorani. Paul Wallace, let me come to you for the start of this part of the programme. In terms of finding a way out of this latest political mess, how important is the issue of the judiciary here and the reinstatement of the judges in resolving this thorny issue?
I think the judiciary is fundamental to the whole situation. I've been listening to the other panelists and their emphasis, to a large extent, on the narrow legal aspects of this. There's another dimension, though, that is Pakistan, at least from my perspective, seems to be in a national crisis. Nawaz Sharif and the PMLN is in a position for a mass movement, particularly in Punjab, which is central to all of Pakistan. And it seems that this is at the beginning stage right now. So it seems to me, to put this in a brief sentence, the choice for Pakistan right now is either some degree of reconciliation in which the judiciary, reformation of the judiciary is central, some degree of reconciliation, or military rule will return. And that's an awful kind of choice to make.
OK, we'll explore some of those options now. Let's bring Amjad Malik there in Manchester back into the discussion. It seems there are very few options open to Nawaz Sharif, but if the judges succeed in reinstating themselves, could that offer him a glimmer of hope, perhaps?
Well, I think, Darren, the most important thing is now for political forces of trust deficit. Who will believe Mr. Zardari? Mr. Zardari is ditching his own promises. He signs agreements, then backs out, and it is a hit-and-run politics. When you are going to stay in politics, then you try to make decisions which are long-lasting. Especially Pakistan is facing a lot of crisis on the rear border, in Afghan areas, and also the economic meltdown. If they don't work on emergency basis on Charter of Democracy, then I feel the politics of reconciliation will go on the backdrop, and it'll be protests and confrontation. And in confrontation, evergreen generals are always ready to take over on the name of national security, on the name of bringing calm, and also on the name of corrupt elite. And I must add here that Nawaz Sharif has an option still that try to preach common sense to the sensibles of Pakistan People's Party to come down, come forward, and respect the pledges of Benazir Bhutto and try to erect some sort of consensus on Charter of Democracy. But looking the situation when Zardari has imposed governor rule in Punjab, so he's denying the mandate of Pakistan Muslim League, it looks beyond comprehension that whether there'll be any sort of reconciliation in the offing.
Dr. Amna Noorani in Lahore, let's explore some ways forward briefly with you. Mr. Zardari has corruption charges hanging over his head, and these could be, of course, reactivated if the original judges are reinstated. So how do both sides come to that compromise that Paul Wallace was talking about?
Look, the law is the law, and you know, no matter what judges you bring to the court, they're still going to look at the Article 62 of Constitution, and they're still going to look at all the cases the same way. You know, we talk about, Mr. Malik talked about corrupt elite of politics. I want to talk about, because I am the only one of the panelists who have been living this politics for a year and a half now, being a People's Party MP in Punjab province, and we are dealing with this hypocrisy every day. When Pakistan People's Party provincial members do not get the development funds, they're just stopped by Nawaz Sharif, Shahbaz Sharif's administration. There are so many departments that are sitting empty because Mr. Sharif cannot appoint Pakistan People's Party people to those departments, or anyone. And they are defunct. There is no work going on. There is police that is going rampant in the province. There is extrajudicial killings in the province, and the list goes on and on and on. I have one question. I say, the people that I gave schemes for the development funds, the people who were going to get food stamps from me, are they not part of Punjab? Are they not poor? Are they not Pakistani? You know, we are Pakistanis. I have left everything, a stellar career in US, to come to Pakistan because I believe in the system. I want to change the system in Pakistan. And in Punjab, it is the Sharif administration that has been the hindrance. And the hypocrisy is that they took a populist stance and they're standing by it, when the inside story is what we know. We, the People's Party workers and elected members who are trying to deal with this hypocrisy every day.
Okay, let's just see if we can move the argument forward a bit. Paul Wallace there in Missouri, you touched earlier on the army. One of the institutions, of course, we haven't spoken much about is the military so far. If the situation gets worse, is there a fear that the military could intervene again?
Well, I think it's more than a fear. There is an article in the latest New Yorker by Steve Cole, who's written quite considerably on Pakistan, and he talks about Musharraf being so conciliatory from 2004 to 2007 in the Kashmir issue, and it seems to be very positive towards him. Is this a beginning campaign to restore the political credibility of former President Musharraf? And if so, this means that the military perhaps is beginning to make a move again. And I think that is what can propel Zardari and Nawaz Sharif to come together again. And if they can reconcile over the issue perhaps of both losing their real power to the military, if they can reconcile, I'm confident the problems with the two courts, the one that has been abrogated and the one that's existing now, the problem of the two courts can be resolved in some compromises in regard to Pakistan nationalism.
Let me put that very same point to Amjad Malik in Manchester. Amjad Malik, I mean, could both sides come to some kind of consensus, some kind of agreement to aid that common interest that Paul Wallace is talking about, to prevent the army from re-emerging in Pakistani politics?
Well, I think that yes, they can, but they should be CBMs, confidence-building measures. I don't agree with Amna Buttar. The Article 62 and 63 applies in Shahbaz Sharif's case. You have taken out a chief minister who was performing very well. His good governance was on top as compared with other provinces, and which was praised by independent observers. But I personally think if there can be any guarantees that Zardari can be trusted and he will act upon whatever he agrees, and there are foreign guarantors and internal guarantors, and Chief Justice is restored to start with to build a consensus, and then they work a framework where Zardari's powers, presidential powers, are scrapped by repealing 17th Amendment on emergency basis, and a time frame to work on a charter of democracy. I think there is a possibility, but looking at Zardari's hidden agenda and how he quickly is coming out, I think he's on a revenge and hit and run mission, and in this situation Nawaz Sharif will be very reluctant to come to board and try to find any solution, because he will not trust, because there is a huge trust deficit when he will be talking again with Mr. Zardari.
Okay, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. We've run out of time. Paul Wallace in Columbia, Missouri, Dr. Amna Buttar in Lahore, and Amjad Malik in Manchester, UK. Thank you all indeed for joining us here. And thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. We, of course, welcome your comments and your suggestions. Please email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. From the whole team here, goodbye for now.